This is my review of the Gobe circular lens filter kit. It comes in a kind of cardboard tin here. They give off this whole thing of environment and all that, and one thing that they advertise is that when you get this kit, it says plants 5 trees, so you get a little voucher here, and they will, when you go on the website, they'll plant 5 trees for your purchase, which is quite nice. But yeah, very nice packaging. You've of course got the 4 lens filters in this kit. You also get a lens wipe, which is nice just to keep your lenses clean, and then you get a little bag here, a fabric bag, which is nice to just throw your lens filters in, and then obviously just toss that in your bag, your camera bag. So yeah, it's nice presentation to it. Quality wise, it seems quite nice. Now these filters themselves are made of metal and glass, of course. You get the lens cover on top, and you also get a cover on the bottom, which is nice, so there's no like the lenses aren't exposed basically, and you know that the glass isn't going to get scratched when they're in your bag. I got this in 67mm to match my 2 lenses that I've got for my Lumix S5. If you want to know your filter size, on the top of your lens you'll have a little symbol like this, usually like a circle with a line through it and a number. So this says 67, so that's how I knew my lens was 67. And what I've done here, so I bought this kit basically as a starter kit. I didn't have any filters for my lenses and I wanted something, and this looks like a good brand. They've got good reviews and it covers all the essentials basically. So the main lens, the main filter that you would want first usually is a UV filter, and the purpose of a UV filter is to protect from UV light. But not only that, and realistically everyone buys it to just protect the lens. It's just an extra piece of glass over the top to stop your expensive camera or expensive lens getting scratched. So it stops any dust getting in there, stops any small bits of whatever it is flying through the air getting in there. And again, so if I was to get bumped or scratched on anything, worst case scenario, I have to get a new UV filter and not an expensive new lens. So yeah, that's primarily what people buy these for. That's what I bought this for. But obviously when you buy it as a kit, you get additional other lens filters. So yeah, that covers the UV filter. But yeah, so this is the CPL filter. This is a circular polarizing lens filter, and it's primarily used for things like when you're looking at clouds in the sky, and it just seems to give more contrast and pop. For example, you would understand if you've used sunglasses and the way that polarized lenses on sunglasses work. And when you're, for example, if you buy water, you can use this to get photographs or videos of whatever's under that reflective surface. So for example, fish or whatever that might be. Another example, I'll stick up an example now. I've got my PC case here and it's got a glass cover on the front. But using this, when you rotate it, because it has these rotating 2 rotating parts here, you can filter out the light so that you can remove the reflection that you would see without it. So as you can see here, I can rotate this and it will completely remove the reflection, allowing me to film or photograph whatever's behind that reflection. So you can obviously, from this example, you can see the many uses that you might get out of that. For example, if you're maybe a museum, you're trying to take some photographs of some old antiques or whatever it is, you can cut out the reflection of that guy standing next to you. Or yeah, again, I'll give you the fish example, but there's many other uses of it, and I think it has its practical uses, but obviously its niche uses. So there's not many times that you're gonna need it, but when you need it, it's so useful to know. I've got this perfect for that situation. So having it in your bag or in your set is always useful, just in case you do need it. So that's those two. And now the next two are ND filters. So you can get many different kind of ND filters, but I've kind of got two here from different ends of the spectrum. So I've got an ND8 and an ND1000. So the ND8 has 3 stops of light, and the ND1000 has 10 stops of light. And so the purpose of this, similar, again, we'll use the sunglasses analogy. It just makes it darker, basically. So in situations where you want to reduce the light, whether you want to reduce 3 stops or if you want to reduce 10 stops, that's what you use these for. So that's the 3 stops. And you can see with the 10 stops here, you can't even see through it. Yeah, so basically when you're using the ND8, the 3 stops, this is incredibly useful if you're videoing, recording video during the middle of the day, especially when it's bright sun. If you've ever tried recording in the middle of the day with a SLR or a DSLR, everything just looks overexposed because the light's too bright. And especially if you want to still be able to use your for example, like an f-stop, like an f1.8, you've got this camera that can do f1.8, but because of how much light that lets in, it's nice to get that kind of blur, the bokeh, but you can't get that f1.8 aperture when it's so sunny. So this is the way that you get that, by reducing the light. So you can reduce the light this way. Allows you to still control the shutter speed, and it still allows you to control the aperture, and this will just reduce it by 3 stops. And yeah, primarily for video. So that's what I would use when if I'm trying to film midday and there's too much light. Now this one here, this is the ND1000. So this is 10 stops. So that is a lot of light that it cuts out. And this is another niche use case where you do want to maybe get a really long exposure photo during the day. So when I think of long exposure photos, often they're done at night or at dusk, because or middle of the night, because it's the only time where if you've got like a photo that you're doing like a 5-second exposure or longer. If you try doing that in the middle of the day, everything is just going to look completely white. So by using this, it cuts out so much light that you can take a much longer exposure in the middle of the day and get some really unique photos that you won't see anywhere else. So again, if we think without using this, and you wanted to take a long exposure photo of some cars or something, at night you would get those kind of like streaks that you get from the cars, but you could never get that kind of blur, the motion blur from a car like that, or from multiple cars in the middle of the day, but you can with this. The other use cases, for example, if you're looking at a street or anywhere there's a lot of foot traffic, using this in a long exposure, you can remove the people from the frame, basically, because if you've been exposing for so long, as long as people aren't standing completely still, that motion just disappears, and you can get some really, really interesting photos using this, and I would highly recommend giving this a try. It's obviously more niche, but you can get some very creative, some very artistic photos from it, and it's interesting. But yeah, that kind of covers all those lenses, and obviously the 2 NDs there are for either end of that spectrum. And after using these, I would look at getting some more lenses. More NDs would be the one that I think I'd look at, just so I can get more control. And the other reason why I got this rather than a variable ND is because I've heard that variable NDs can have this like an X kind of mark that appears because obviously you rotate it, and it can create undesirable blemishes on your photos. So I thought for my first lens filter kit, I'd rather just get separate lenses that I can put on and off, be more decisive, whatever the word is, and have more, more intent with my photography. Like, I've chose this thing for a reason, and not just willy-nilly just kind of fiddling around. But yeah, I would recommend this brand. They seem like good quality, they seem like they've got a good reputation online, and they seem like they're doing the right thing. Who doesn't like planting trees? Good for the environment. But yeah, so yeah, check Gobe out. I'll put a link below. I think they may have rebranded recently as Earth, URTH, but from what I've seen online, they are the same company. So whether you're buying Earth or whether you're buying Gobe, from my understanding, they are the same brand. But yeah, I would recommend them. And yeah, if you've got any questions, do let me know, and I will try and get back to you. Thanks a lot.